And now with Eszter, we bring our attention to V4 countries. I would like to ask Katka, please could you help me here with technique? Thank you. We bring our attention to V4 countries, and I'm very happy that Eszter is part of our international supervision team. Eszter is founder of an organization called Nestingplay, and yeah, she has a very good knowledge about the situation in Hungary and about the situation of the teachers in Hungary. She also deals with the refugees. She has some program for them, some projects, and I'm sure she will tell us more about it.
So good afternoon, everybody. I will be much faster than the previous presenter. So this is Aaron. He is my son. He was born with epilepsy. And due to his conditions, he was lack out of fun, he was lack out of social activities, he was not able to join to the game, he was not able to do so many things. So he was missed, and he's still missing the sense of belongings, the feeling that I am needed because who I am. And Aaron, unfortunately, is not alone. So unfortunately, Aaron is not alone with this situation. Today, 3 in 10 children are suffering from isolation, are suffering from learning difficulties, from developmental delays, for not having not needed in a child group. And their numbers are growing steadily. And lack of belongings, lack of belongings are similar form of adversity than any other kind of trauma. And I guess we can all agree that sense of belongings matter for everyone. And as a mother, it was very painful for me to see that how much he is missing from his life, that he is not able to connect, that he is not able to participate in games. And let's acknowledge it's not so fun to play with these kind of children. So I funded Nestingplay because I wanted to do something to support him and to support the peers who are in the same shoes. And we are supporting teachers all around in Hungary to create classrooms where everybody is expected, where everybody has a place, where everybody is needed, where teachers can support them through play. And we also working with parents, because they are the missing part in the puzzle, that we need to understand each other, we need to watch the same TV, we need to work for the same purpose. And our vision is that to improve children between 0 and 12 with extreme behavior and difficulties and learning difficulties without learning methodology, revolutionary methodology, which I'm going to talk about a few slides later. So the situation in Hungary is not so good. Being a student in the Hungarian education system is quite stressy. Most of the students have got traumatic experience within the system. We have got declining education data. We have, unfortunately, uniform curriculum. There are some examples, but most of the time we have uniform curriculum. Teachers are burned out and they are stressed. There are huge classroom numbers. There are lots of administrations. And of course, there are the policymakers who force teachers to do things which is giving the time, which is taking the time from real work. And children are frustrated because they have lots of things to learn, and because of the school atmosphere. And COVID didn't help in this situation. There is a recent study or recent research in Hungary that I guess you know it well, it's not new, that the biggest impact was, COVID has the biggest impact those who are living in poverty on marginalized circumstances. And there was a huge number between the 7 and 11 years old who have got attention problems or extreme behavior, or even with teenagers, they were suffering some kind of anxiety. I guess you all met with the same situation within your classroom. So who are we talking about actually? These are different labors: partially disordered, learning difficulties, invisible disabilities, conduct disorder, or differential development. These children are not disabled. They are not diagnosed. They've never been diagnosed most of the time. And our experiences is that 50% of in each child group, there are some kids who have this kind of labels. And it doesn't matter what kind of labels we use. They are the ones who are not fitting in the box, and they are the little troublemaker, which makes your life, let's say, much harder, because it's difficult to settle them, it's difficult to work with them, because they have several problems. Just to be on the same side, what we call this, all of them have got delayed development, even those who have got trauma or affected some kind of trauma. And that means that the development goes and the child stays. So there will be a gap between the birth age and the developmental age. And the only difference between those who have got trauma and those who have got kind of organic difficulties, it's that closing the gap, it's much faster if a child affects only trauma than has any kind of organic difficulties. But your task, and I know it's very, very hard and very, very difficult, close the development gap. Because if we are not closing the development gap first, it will be very difficult to work with them, to cooperate with them. And those children who are not helped in the first years, they will fall from education. Education will be a failure for them. They will drop out from school. And we cannot lose this many human potentials. So I know that it is very overwhelming, and I know it's very stressful. However, I am not a teacher, but I am communicate with my kids' teacher, but still you have a lot to do to save these children. I know it's not new for you, because you know that in your classroom, I'm quite sure in your classroom there are children who have got sensory integration disorder, which means then the information goes to the brain, but they don't know what to do with that. When you ask a child, raise your hand, and the child doesn't raising the hand because I hear what you are saying, I just don't know what to do. Or I guess you have so many children in your class who doesn't like when the hand is sandy or dirty, or doing this when something is very noisy, or they are the one who is hugging you, however it's so uncomfortable, or they are the one who doesn't like to be hugged because they have got sensory integration disorder. I'm not going to talk about the motor development, because you are quite aware the fine motors and the gross motors, the signs of it. Language disorders. This is a huge topic, and we are making difference between the language perception and language comprehension. The reason why I'm put more emphasis on that is that most of the time parents doesn't understand what is the difference between language perception and language comprehension, and that's what happens when you, teacher, are the stupid one, that you don't understand my kid, that my child is behaving perfectly, he understands everything, because they don't understand the difference between the two of them. I needed to convince we had a one-year fight with my husband to convince him that language perception and comprehension is not the same, because Aaron has perfect vocabulary, but he only understands the 80% of what we are saying. Social disorder. This is very typical also with traumatized children, that the way I try to connect with you, that I'm hitting you, because I don't know how to do that. If you want to play with me, I don't understand what do you want, so I hit you, I push away. And this is when we need to interfere. This is what you need to see, that there is some problem in that ability. I guess you all know it, that every troubled child want to perform, and they don't want to do what they cannot do. They are going to deny it, they are going to neglect it, because they know that they cannot do it. Even if they cannot say it, they are not going to do it. And especially true for young children. They want to show their love teacher, look what I do, what I am able to do. But those who are not able, they are not going to show you, but they will be the one who will have behavioral issues. They will be the one who will be the clown of the group because they are frustrated, because they cannot do it, they cannot express themselves, and they will somehow ruin all your curriculum, what you planned for that day. And it is very important, and I will talk a bit more detailed about it, that we never give assistance to the birth age, but we give assistance where that given child is, at what age is it. So we need to look that, for example, how a 6 years old or 8 years old have language perception or fine motors. And if she or he is behaving as a 5 years old or 6 years old, then we need to give support at his current developmental age. We are using the sensory approach. My experience is that most of the time autism is mixed with the sensory approach. It's not the same, because kids with autism, their brain is working completely differently than those children who have got sensory disorder. And I don't know what is the situation in the Czech Republic. In Hungary, this is not it's not recognized, the sensory approach. However, we are talking a lot about, but there is no code or nothing for that. And as I said earlier, is that the information goes into the brain, but the kids is not able to work on that, so they will be misbehaving, or they won't be able to do several things. I mean, we were talking about play, that how we can help them. I think Lenka was telling that how we can help those children through play. So, for example, these children are inflexible. They are not able to decide, they are not able to begin to play, how to play with different things. They are intolerant. So there are so many signs besides the 5 stimulus, but you can see that there is a problem of sensory approach. And also, let's not forget that coming from poverty, being a part of the marginalized group, or having trauma, it all has effect of the sensory processing. And actually, it is your responsibility to rewiring the brain. With certain activities, with certain games, with certain movement, we can all actually, we parents can also rewiring the brain. And this is very important, that we need to inform, you need to inform parents that where are the biggest problem in kids' life, because they can play at home more consciously. We never say that parents need to do development work at home, because that is for fun, home is for fun, but still we can do more consciously. Our methodology based on Montessori and Ayers, and we mixed it, and also we have some Hungarian special education methodology in it, so we have a mixture of it. And what we are doing in Hungary is that we are giving practical advices for teachers. I'm not coming from academia, I am a sociologist, I don't have PhD, I have nothing to do with researches, I'm just a mother. So that's why we are providing practical information for teachers. So our solution is that we provide offline and online training for teachers, and we have a complex monitoring system. I know that each teacher needs to assess the children, that whether, just saying a very simple example, whether the child is able to jump parallel legs, I don't know, or able to this and that. But most of the kids, those who we are talking about, they are not able, we are not able to put them into the box, because they are not fitting there, because they are more complex problem. So what we designed is we have a complex monitoring system to help the teachers, what are the root causes of that certain behavior, of that certain delay, of that certain ability. We are assessing the children, the sensory processing, language comprehension and perception, fine and gross motor, play, and social and communication. And what we try to deliver to teachers, that you need to have a completely different mindset. You need to be more conscious. I know it's difficult, and especially when you have got large classroom numbers, but this is the only way we can help this teacher. This is our, I think it's our responsibility responsibility as a society to reach the full, to reach the full potential of every child. And that's why we need to be more conscious. And what we also are saying that you don't need special ed teacher in your classroom. You don't need psychologists in your classroom. You need to provide the support where they need it. And the way we are doing it, we are doing it through play. So we are offering group plays. They are not rocket science, but our added value is that we support teachers how to involve those kids who is not easy to involve. That, for example, those who are not able to speak, don't force them to speak at the first place. Or those who are not able to wait, then put them to be the third one, and then you can continue the game. And also what we teach is the peers, how you can play with them. Because play matters for everyone, and this is play is the essence of learning for these children. So we teach peer groups how to play together. Okay. I know that you know why play is so important. I don't know how do you play in the Czech school. In Hungarian school, it's quite difficult because they need to sit 45 minutes in the bank. I don't know your system, sorry. But this is, so many before us emphasized that it's very, very important to play. And also, if you have school break, I mean, between lessons, you have got break. Structured play is very important for these children. Free play is a joy killer because they are the one who doesn't see the space, so they don't know what to do with their unstructured school break or something like. So it's again, it is very difficult. I know, because then when you can have relaxed, when you can have your break. But for these children, this is absolutely killer to have unstructured game. And it's very important, and especially those who have got trauma, to free them to decide when do they want to join to the game. We don't need to force them. We need to give them time to join, and especially, just to repeat myself, those who have went through traumatic experience. We have a web-based application. It's called Nesty. And the reason why we did it, because we cannot be everywhere. And I know that, as so many said before me, that teachers are suffering from so many things, I think in everywhere in education. Children are changed, the quality of children changed, the parents change. We parents don't know how to raise our child. We think that we push the competencies toward the education system, that you need to raise our child. We don't know how to play. This is my experience, that we are not playing anymore with our kids, but we give them the IT. That's the solution, so I can have rest, I can read, I can do whatever. So they are playing online, which is not the best friend of our brain. So that's why we designed a web-based application where we support teacher. Again, this is our methodology, with just digitalized, and this is my favorite. We have a graph. This is how you can communicate best parents. I never understood. I mean, I was sitting down with the teachers of Aaron, and they said that they were telling me, okay, this and this and this is not true for Aaron. Okay, so what are we talking about? Then I don't know who Aaron is actually in the classroom. So the reason why we did this graph is that you have a baseline, that is the birth age of that given child. And when you sit down with the parents to give feedback, then you can see that, okay, so you have a child who behaves in, I don't know, in language perception you have a 6-year-old child. Your child is 4 years in play, 5 years in communication, or whatever. It is a visual graph, and it's much better to understand for parents. Okay, now I understand that what is missing from my child. And even if you have a good relationship with parents, as education should have a good partnership, then you can give tips that how you can support children at home. Our method is just the added value. So it's simple and low cost, because you don't need to be a special ed teacher. You don't need to be a psychologist. It's just you need to a bit thinking more consciously. It requires a mindset change to support these children. And actually everything what we are doing is easier work, not to be so stressful, not to be burnout. And the other thing what we are doing is that we are teaching generation to play together, because that is very important, to play together. And this is the outcomes for children. We were talking about the previous one, what is the outcomes of different interventions. It's lower stress, because I won't be stressful if I understand what you want for me. I will be happy if you can support me, if you can explain what my task to do in a completely different way, because I have got attention deficit and no way that I'm going to understand long sentences. There will be much better school readiness and school preparedness, and for them school will be a success, and at the end they will be a valuable member of the employment market. Reduce dropouts. And not to talk about improved motoric planning and organizational skills, improved communication, storytelling. We forget to talk about our children. I don't know how is the chess system, but in Hungary, we are not communicating within the system, the kids, we are asking questions, open-ended questions, or yes or no questions. That's not communication. We forgot how to communicate with our children. That is also that we improve social and emotional skills, not just by showing an example, but like supporting them with different games, how you can improve your missing abilities. And more joyful and playful activities improve social and inclusion and cohesion, and more diverse and inclusive, informed and welcoming communities and classrooms. And let's not forget that if we are conscious, if there is a mindset change as a teacher, there will be a positive outcomes for teachers and parents as well. You will have less stressful, more happier children. Maybe you will enjoy again what does it mean to be a teacher, that what kind of teacher you wanted to be at your beginning of your career. There will be a better high self-confidence, increased enrollment, more inclusive and functioning classroom, and understanding and more conscious educators. Solidarity, it is very important, because I know it is very difficult to be a partner of a parent who is denying everything, who doesn't want to be your partner because they think that the system itself, which is killing most of the time the kids, sometimes it's true, but these children were born, most of them, with some organic difficulties, and parents need to well, confess themselves that something is not okay. And of course there are positive outcomes for communities. It's that happier citizens at the end of the day, more informed decision taken, and more efficient actions at the local level, more supportive communities, more cohesive local communities, the micro-communities, and sustained social, economic, and environmental impacts initiated at the local level. And teacher, you are the biggest asset of our children, and I'll just leave this here. You need to take care of yourself, because if you are burned out, if you are stressed, then we are lost. Not just the children, but we parents, because we are not there. You are there. You support our children. This is why you get your salary. This is why you finished education. So I just leave this here. Just take care of yourself. Thank you.